Game Over 86 coming back with another video. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be talking about some huge news involving the Super Mario Maker 2 game for the Nintendo Switch coming later on. I think it's going to be released in June, and it's big news. So let's go ahead and get into it, and I'm going to be reading from a source. There's a lot of sources out there, but this one has, from what they've said from Nintendo Facts, and a statement that states that Nintendo, what they're saying about the Super Mario Maker 2 cannot be played online with your friends is true. And this is from my Nintendo News, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about it. They say that they found out earlier today Super Mario Maker 2 will not allow you to play online with your friends. You can only play with random players. If you want to team up with your friends, you will need to play locally. The news was first reported by NWR, and GameXplain has chased it up today with Nintendo of America, who confirmed to them this is indeed the case. Now, I do understand that their online service is not the best. I do understand that they have some features that I think need to fix, and I think maybe at E3, maybe they'll target some of these. But it says this is true as the game is now. You cannot create friend lobbies. So it says as the game is now. So as of now, you can't create friend lobbies online. So they could change this, but I don't know if they will. It says you can only play online with randoms. You can still get friends together and play with local play. You are free to play with 4 players on your Nintendo Switch. It also says you can also still challenge your friends to your creations and take on their designs through course IDs and having them follow your maker profile. So pretty much what they're saying is they're wanting, I'm guessing, you to not have no fun with the game. Now, I know a lot of people may just jump to conclusions right there from me saying that, but it's 2019. And Nintendo has always been the type of company that's behind the 8 ball, no matter what anybody wants to say, whether they're innovative or not, whether they're this, whether they're that, whether they came out with the first analog stick when they did, and it's technically a digital stick. I know you guys will Wikipedia me, and it'll state that, but if you open it up, there's 2 digital gears in there that turn that actually move that whole part. The first analog stick was a third party by Atari 5200. The other one was a third party by the Sega Saturn 1994, I think, for the Knights of whatever, that girl that spins around. I don't know, because I never got to play that game because the Saturn didn't sell that well, and that's the one console I never did purchase because it was too damn expensive. And then the actual first party company to make an actual analog, which was the first dual analog, was the Sony PlayStation. That is facts. If you want to pull apart a controller and do all that, you can. I'm just telling you there are a difference between analog and digital. And for people to keep saying that Nintendo is a digital or an analog is just frustrating to hear. So I want to put that to rest real quick. But it's funny because I bring that up as in it's 2019 now. You should be able to play with your friends online. You should be able to not have to worry about creating course IDs and have them follow your profile just to join and play your system. I understand that's how it kind of works in the Super Mario Maker world, but that's what friends wanted to do. They wanted to get on and try to tackle these challenging levels possibly together. And now that they have to do it with randoms, it kind of brings down the love of the game, in my opinion. And I understand Nintendo could possibly come back at E3 and change this around. They could possibly come out and say, hey, this is what we're going to do differently if there's a lot of bad feedback, which there should be. As a Nintendo fan, but not a fanboy, this is the Nintendo S. This is what Nintendo does. And a lot of people that are fanboys of Nintendo will sit there and say, well, that's how they made it. This is how they should have played it. And that's not how it should be played. Any multiplayer game right now that I can remember, you can join your friends. And it's just funny because it's like this game, they had a self Nintendo Direct for its own, and it looked amazing. Everything looked awesome. Hell, the new Super Mario World 3D parts are awesome. I don't know if you'll be able to unlock more stuff if there's DLCs coming later on. I'm sure there probably will be, but it looks like a game that you can play for years and years and years and have fun. I play the first one on the Wii U, and my kids, we played a lot of hard levels. We played a lot of easy levels so they can have fun. It's a really fun game. It's got a lot of replay value, and for them to have no value when it's your friends online, whether you want to play with somebody all the way across the world, that may be your friend, it kind of defeats the purpose of what online playing is for. And especially when you're paying for a service now, all you're going to do is play with randoms who you've never even played with. Maybe you'll run into your friend, but I doubt it. And it's just funny because they try to make it seem like, well, you can't play online with them, but you can still play, your creative friend lobbies online. You can play with local. You can join their maker profile and play their levels that they created, and they can play your levels. But it's like, dude, a lot of people want to play their levels together with their friends. And it's just funny because this is what I'm talking about. Nintendo did this with the Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu with the Pokeball. I just said, hey, I made a video a while back ago, and I said, why can't they just have the Pro Controller? I had a lot of people say, well, this is what they wanted, or no, it's comfortable, this is how it was made. And it's like, yeah, but I grew up playing Pokemon on the Game Boy original, and, the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, and what did they all have in common, guys, all at once? What did they have all in common? We played with a controller or a D-pad and buttons, and it was like, it just didn't feel the same using Joy-Cons or a Pokeball. I wanted to have the choice. And it wasn't just that. Super Mario Party, I understand. They're all like, oh, well, they did all these things with the Joy-Cons. That's nice and neat. I know, it's fun. But I'm not 12. And I understand there are adults that have fun with that. That's fine. But the controller's this damn big, and it don't fit in my hand that well. I'm not bitching. I'm just saying, like, I should have had the option to play with the Pro Controller. The Pro Controller has a lot of the features the Joy-Cons have, and hell, they're normally $10 more at the time. So that's where I kind of lean with Nintendo. It's like they have the option to let you play online with friends, and they don't give you that option as of now. The game as of now, they state. But that's the frustrating thing. Why does it even have to be to this? Sony's not even showing up at E3, okay? Yes, they got a video coming out later on talking about Death Stranding and possibly The Last of Us Part 2. Which I still think is coming out in 2020 in March or somewhere around there. I just don't see where Nintendo is really understanding, because it's Nintendo. People could say Sony and Xbox are cocky. That's fine. They are. Nintendo's cocky too. They get in this groove to where they're like, oh, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this. And I understand their first-party title games are amazing. But when it comes to voice chat, a lot of their games, and hacking, and shitty service, and peer-to-peer rather than server ran, and all this other stuff building up, and then you get Super Mario Maker 2, which is a big anticipated game. Who's to say that all these other games that are coming, like a new, Metroid Prime 4, or the Pokemon Shield and Sword RPG game, or any other games that are coming that are going to be big. And it's just, that's when I see this and I think, okay, this is where Nintendo can correct themselves and redeem themselves. And I hope that they will, but it looks like they're not going to. I mean, we're talking about a company in 2019 that in 2017, when they made their hardware, it was like 3-year-old hardware. Now, I'm not saying that it's not great for what they're doing with the handheld market and the games, but it's not that hard to run games at 720p at 30 frames. It's just not in 2019. It's not. It's very simple. Xbox was doing it in 2001. Okay? The PSP and the PS Vita are 10 times better, technically, than the 3DS. They just don't have their big first-party support, which Nintendo is amazing at. And will repeat the living shit out of it. We're living in an era of Nintendo where you have to have a Switch number instead of just their name. Everybody else just uses a gamer name, gamer tag. Not Nintendo. No, give us our Switch ID, that 9 number, whatever it is. I mean, we're living where 2019, they have a Pro Controller and they don't even have a mic port on it. Like, I just don't understand some of these things that Nintendo's doing. They should just quit. They're like trying to focus on doing so much, it seems like, that they're forgetting the little details that make everything so perfect. And it's not just Nintendo, but this is about Nintendo today. And for them to sit there and say that this one big game that they made a single direct about, like they will with Pokemon, like they will with all these other big-time directs like Metroid when it's eventually going to be released, they'll make a huge direct about it, I'm sure. They won't do directs to any big third-party games. They're going to give... I mean, some people say that The Witcher 3... I mean, that looks cool. Okay, if it does come, will it run great? Probably not. It probably won't. They'll have to dummy it down really bad. And that's not me taking a shot at it, but why would you want to play a game that looks shittier, even though you're like, well, it looks impressive. At least it's portable. Yeah, but why can't it be great and run portable? People will sit there and say, well, man, it's Nintendo, make a Pro. Make a Nintendo Switch Pro and put the games on there running at 60 frames or 30 frames and 1080p at least. I'm serious. All the games that they say are big, like Doom and Wolfenstein and even Mortal Kombat, some of the games run at 60 frames, but it's like 900p or 720p. Sometimes, whether it's docked or portable. And a lot of the games run at 30 frames, that being Doom or Wolfenstein. And I'm not saying that it's not bad. Even the new Sonic Team Racing is 30 frames. And somebody says it's a smooth transition. No, it's not. Have they ever played at least 60 or even higher? I'm being generous to most people when I say 60. Jesus Christ, imagine playing at 144 frames. FreeSync, G-Sync, whatever. It would be, dude, it's night and day difference. And for people to defend it and say, oh, well, you're going to run this and this. That's why third-party developers don't want to go, because it costs a lot of money to put it on a cartridge. Nintendo will do odd things, and the games just don't perform that well because Nintendo's always behind in hardware, which is not a consumer problem. It's a company's choice. But all their hardware runs all their first-party games with ease. It always has. Except for Zelda Breath of the Wild, it still kind of have, frame issues, but it still runs good on certain areas. And then I see Super Mario Maker 2, which is an amazing game. I played the first one, I know it's going to be good. And now I can't even play with my friends online. It just makes the game not even want to be purchased. I know a lot of people will defend it and just purchase it and say, oh, well, this is how it is. No, that's not how it should be. That's not how it should be. We should have our choice at everything. And I'm going to throw one last thing in here. And this ain't attack on any console. But and I say this a lot, but I'm not trying to convince people to go out and buy, a $2,000 PC or whatever, or a $1,000 PC or an $800 PC and a $300 monitor and an expensive keyboard, mic, whatever you want to do. But if you add up all the shit that you've paid for over the years, and a lot of you have owned multiple generation consoles, multiple versions of a console, and multiple games of the same game over and over, and you pay for services. You add that shit up, man, you've, in a year's time, dude, you could have gotten a sweet PC. And the reason why I brought it up is, look at everything. Look at everything, dude. You don't have choices. You don't have options. This is why people of all ages quit with consoles a lot of the times and go to PC. It's because they can make an own lobby for Super Mario Maker once it's hacked and put onto the PC, which eventually all that stuff will be. But they can make their own lobby to where they can join their own friends and play no matter what. They can break through the codes. I know a lot of people like to keep it simple and basic and don't really like to jump around and do all that. That's fine. And this ain't me ranting on consoles and making PC elitists. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there are reasons why people will defend consoles, and there are reasons why people will say PC and defend PC. When I see Nintendo not even giving you friends online, it's like, dude, it's not 1996 anymore. Okay, I'm not playing on the Nintendo 64 Mario Party and having 3 of my friends come over so we can game. It's 2019. It's time to get on with it, because in 5 to 10 years, and this is me being real, I honestly believe that a lot of consoles will either be obsolete or they're going to eventually be really expensive to afford. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's BS. Dude, when they all go digital and streaming, they're still going to sell you a box for $500 or $600. And it's going to be a joke, because they still want to sell hardware and they still want to make money. But eventually people will smarten up and realize that they could play all these other games for free, cheaper, with any controller they want. People keep saying, oh, well, this controller works with the Switch. This controller works with the PlayStation or the Xbox. Oh, well, this game only costs this much, or this game only costs this much. Or I can run at this speed or this frames or whatever. On PC, guess what? When the PlayStation 5 comes or the Xbox 2 comes, my PC as is right now that I built in 2016 with my brother, and this ain't a shot at anybody, I'm just saying, I can play all them games when they come out. I'll be able to just buy the game and play it if I want it. I don't have to spend an extra $500-$600, whatever the Xbox 2 or PlayStation 5 will be. And then the Switch games, technically you can hack it right now and get all the games for free. Technically. And then you pay for the service, and it feels like you don't get anything for it. On PC, you don't have to pay for no service. You just buy the game and play it. And that is where I say a lot of people get tired of that. So when I see Nintendo, and I'm using this full circle, when you see Nintendo like doing this all the time with their controller not having a mic jack, with their games not being able to give you an option of controllers. And I had a guy sarcastically say on Twitter one time, well, PlayStation VR games are made exclusively for the VR. And I said, yeah, but what if they didn't give you the option between controllers or your Move controllers? What if you only had the option to use your Move controllers and you couldn't use your regular controller? That would make you have to spend more money than what you possibly want. But they give you that option. Hell, a lot of PSVR games have modes to where you can play regular game, or you can have the VR and play in VR mode if you have the VR. This ain't me just taking a shot or trying to defend certain things. I'm just saying, like, give options. That's why gamers love PC, because there's so many more options to choose from. Prices of games are cheaper. There's no service to play any of them games online. You can hook up any controller you want, whether it be anything retro, old school, USB, new school, any third-party, first-party developer, most of them will hook up. You can play practically any game. Any game. And a lot of people say, well, what about the exclusives? Yeah, there's the difference. That's why Sony still sells 100 million units, because they have great exclusives. That's why the Switch will sell a shitload of units. It's not because they have great third-party support. It's because they have first-party games that are amazing, or that have been repetitive so long, people just become accustomed to it. 90% of their games are easily beatable, have no challenge. But the point I'm getting at is when they don't give you features, and this is about Nintendo today, and I see that the Switch is not going to allow you to have friends. What's the point? What is the point of the game? Like, do you want us to just play their maps that they build and then they can play ours, and we're like, oh yeah, that's fun? Or do you want them to have fun and an experience that's going to be 5 years later, people are still gaming hard at it from Super Mario Maker 2? And that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, there's reasons why Nintendo does the things that they do, because, let's face it, if they tried to pull Sega and made different versions or the same price as Sony, it wouldn't work out in their favor. And I know a lot of people may dislike that, but I want to break some news to you. Nintendo's favorite best-selling console is a handheld, and their second best console was a gimmick console, technically, that was targeted for young kids and old people, called the Nintendo Wii. Most of their consoles, and I say most, didn't sell worth a shit. I think the GameCube sold 20 million or somewhere around there. The Nintendo 64 sold 33 million. The NES version sold, 70 million or whatever, 60 million. The Super NES sold 75 million, 80 million, something like that. The Wii U sold 13 million. Like, I'm not dogging it. I'm just saying, when we look at all this shit from Nintendo, there's a reason why. They're always underpriced. They're always underperforming power-wise. They're always going a different way than the actual real market's going. Everybody else goes discs. What do? They go cartridge. It's like PlayStation went DVD. Even Xbox OG went DVD. GameCube, they went with the mini DVD. That held less stuff on it. It was easier scratchable. The PlayStation went with Blu-ray, PlayStation 3. The Xbox 360 went with HD DVD. What did the Nintendo Wii U or the Wii do? It didn't even have a DVD player in it. It didn't even have an HDMI port in 2006. The Wii U came out, had an HDMI port. It still didn't play DVDs. I mean, the Wii was a version of the GameCube technically. The PlayStation 4 comes out. It has a Blu-ray player. The Xbox One technically eventually has the 4K. The Switch comes out and it don't have anything. I mean, they finally put YouTube on it. They finally put some things on it. But it's like, it's so huge. Is it really portable? You're going to fit in your pocket, carry it around? I think people that want it to succeed defend it at anything and all costs, and they need to be careful, because eventually, once all your first-party games come and go, they're slowly spacing them out and not really just unloading them every 3 months. But eventually, like, you need third-party support. You need other features that draw people in. And I think with Nintendo, what they've always seemed to struggle to do is to change with the times. Yeah, I understand they don't want to make something that's going to be the same price as the PlayStation 4, probably because it wouldn't outsell it. More people would want to buy the PlayStation 4 if it's $400 and the Switch would be $400. Most people would be like, why would I buy this if it's less superior? Can't even play half the games that I can play on my PlayStation 4. That's just a fact. There's a lot of adults out there that, yeah, they love Nintendo. They grew up Nintendo. They grew up Sega, but they grew up. And games like that just aren't fun to them anymore. I'm not saying that they wouldn't enjoy it if they played it. I'm not saying that they don't like these games. I'm just saying they'd much rather play shooters, Maddens, the big third-party games. That's what most people buy anyway. When you look at God of War and you look at Spider-Man, yeah, they're selling great, but when you look at Madden and you look at NBA 2K and you look at all these other games that come multi-plat and they're big third-party developers that got millions of dollars in it, like a Battlefield 5 and Black Ops 4, dude, it's night and day. It just outsells everything. And that, I think, if Nintendo moved forward and used that and stopped changing just things around and fixed some of their problems, then that's the big deal. I think we need to come together and really like hone this and say, really, Nintendo, like, why? What is the big deal of us playing together? Is it going to be too messy, too laggy? Will they want us to be connected peer-to-peer? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why it would be so complicated. But let me know down in the comments, guys. I'm sorry for ranting and raving so long. I'm sorry for drawing this out. I'm just passionate. I just don't understand why people always defend companies that don't technically give a shit about you. You don't get paid, and if you do get paid, props to you, but you still shouldn't be a corporate shill and defend these people, no matter who they are, whether it be Sony, Xbox, or Nintendo. I always think you should be, just honest with your audience. Not try to say I got inside news from somebody and then get called out on it and then a day or two later make an apology video and be like, I was wrong. Yet we know you don't have any insider news. There's bigger channels than you out there, and they're not going to come into you and go, yeah, I'm going to tell you all this stuff. Anyway, guys, that was just my little rant on stuff, okay? Just don't believe everything everybody tells you. And I know it sounds stupid for me to say that, but I'm being 100% real with you. If Nintendo can keep doing this, who's to say they won't keep doing this like in other games? And I'm just saying, they need to fix a lot of their small things, features, design flaws, whether it be the screen getting scratched, overheating, kickstand issues. I don't know, 32 built-in memory, gig, 1 terabyte built-in memory. It's that simple. Your games aren't that big. It's not like you're getting Red Dead Redemption 2 anytime soon. So you ain't got to worry about 100 gig there. I'm just saying, like, fix some of your flaws. Joy-Cons, all that stuff breaking, warped console or tablet, controller with third-party jack, your online service. I mean, there's so many other things you can focus on. And then when you release great games like this, just let it be open to anything. But anyway, I want to know what you guys think. I'm sorry to rant and rave so damn long. I hope you guys appreciate the video. I hope you guys appreciate passion and real and honesty, because that's what I am. And if you guys want to support me, hit that subscription button. Make sure you guys share this video with somebody out there that you know needs to hear some real shit. Not some of the bullshit clickbait channels that are just out there to get ad revenue and then to go back and counter whatever they say. And then you got all these other people that defend each other when they make stupid ass mistakes. And then try to play the victim. Bullshit. I ain't playing no damn victim. I'm a grown ass man. A grown ass man that plays some Nintendo games, not all. But damn it, if I wanted to play with my buddies on Super Mario Maker 2, or my kids wanted to play with their friends or their cousins, they can't. They got to play with a bunch of randoms and carry their ass through the creative world. Anyway, guys, I love you, though. I'm being real. Do a good deed. Stay safe. Take care of one another. Enjoy every video game out there. But always, always, man, speak up. Be critical. We all have a voice. We should all use it. Nobody should be censored. And we should all speak up to change the way games are for us, the consumers, not the billion-dollar white-collared suits that living on yachts have no clue what it is, and not all these fanboys that are just going to kiss their ass anyway, no matter what they give you, whether it give you dog shit 4-year-old hardware, and they're like, this is the best thing ever. And it's like, shut up and get with the times, Nintendo. It's time to change some of your features and some of your stuff. Otherwise, eventually, you will run out of your first-party games like you normally do. Nintendo, and you know what I'm talking about, and you don't have a high-powered Switch to run them third parties, it's night again. And you're going to have to come up with another gimmick or another idea that's going to attract these kids and grown-ass adults and people that like your console until they die into buying it again. And you're going to give them the same games you always do without having to come up with new ideas or new thoughts or new visions, even though you got a game that's being made not technically by Nintendo, an Astral Chain, Daemon X Machina. That's what I want. And I keep saying that, but I want to know what you guys think down below. And I'm sorry, like I said, it took too damn long in this video. I love you very much. Do a good deed. Peace, baby. And enjoy every game you play.